Morning. You want me
Morning.
to- So it's 11 o'clock. I think we'll get started. I know we probably have a few of our uh, uh, visitors coming for presentation. They're going to join us as we start, but I think we'll get started just because we have quite a few people on the call today. So, hi everyone. My name is Kristen Shanks. I am the Vice President of Sales for Ingleside, and I want to thank you for joining us today for our presentation about experience by Ingleside, and we're focusing on our move management services today. And we're very excited because this is one of the newer products from our organization, and we're glad that you could all join us today. Just so everyone knows, we today are doing this presentation over all three of our campuses. So we have about 80 participants or guests as yourselves who are going to be on today's call. And so because it's such a large group, it's difficult for us to ask questions as or answer questions as the presentation is going on. So what I'll ask of you is that as the presentation goes on, I'm sure we're all familiar with Zoom. Please put your question in the chat box, and I promise you that we will get to it if we have enough time to get all the questions answered at the end of today's presentation. And so, as I said, my name is Kristen Shanks, and I am the Vice President of Sales for Ingleside. We also have on today's call Betty. Betty is from an organization it's called Moyer Move Management. She partners with us through Experience by Ingleside to provide move management services to, excuse me, our clients. And so she is going to speak today on those services. And then we also have Mikkel. Mikkel is from Dorvey. Dorvey is the organization that Ingleside has partnered with to provide Experience by Ingleside. So they are kind of the operational piece to Experience by Ingleside. So she is on the call today as well to answer any questions that I might not be able to answer. And so we are all here. And as I said, at the end of the day or at the presentation, we can answer your questions. So I thought what would be important is that I think most of the individuals who are guests that are on this call today are familiar with Ingleside, but because we've sent a mailer out to you, but because before we get into Experience by Ingleside, we thought it would be really important just to give you sort of a quick overview of who Ingleside is before we go into the presentation. So Ingleside, we began through the Presbyterian Home in 1906 in Washington, D.C. So we've been around for quite a while. Our mission in 1906 was to care for the frail and elderly members of the Presbyterian Church, and those who had really no other family or no other resources. Obviously, over the last century, Ingleside has grown quite a bit, and we've become a premier not-for-profit senior living provider in the Washington, D.C. area. We currently manage three CARF accredited life plan communities. You may have heard of this as also a CCRC or a continuing care retirement community. These three communities have all levels of care on one campus. So independent living, assisted living, memory support assisted living, as well as skilled nursing and rehab. So we have Ingleside at Rock Creek in Washington, D.C. They are the first community that started in 1906. We have Westminster at Lake Ridge. They are in Lake Ridge, Virginia. And then we have Ingleside at King Farm, which is, we would consider the newer of the three communities, which opened in 2009, I believe. And they are in the Rockville, Maryland, the King Farm area of Rockville, Maryland. So those are our three life plan communities. We also have, because we are a not-for-profit, we have the Westminster Ingleside Foundation. And this foundation is in place for our residents on campus if they outlive their financial resources to no fault of their own. So they didn't, go gambling and spend all their money. But if they ran out of resources while living on the campus, We are proud to say that we have never asked a resident to move off campus. We have the foundation available who can pay for residents to stay on campus or can support our residents to stay on campus. And this is in all levels of care, our independent living, our assisted living, our memory support assisted living. Typically in skilled nursing, we help residents go on to Medicaid. But so we have the Westminster Ingleside Foundation. We also have Ingleside at Home, which we've partnered with an organization called Interim to provide to our residents as well. Ingleside at Home by Interim is a home care service. We can do medication management, some light housekeeping, but more it's activities of daily living, assistance with bathing, dressing, grooming. This is a program that is available on our campuses to our residents for an additional fee, but we also do offer Ingleside at Home by Interim to the external community. So if you are living in your home right now, and maybe not you, but maybe you have a neighbor or you know someone who could benefit from home care services, we do provide that in the geographical area of where our communities are located. So Northwest DC, around the Prince William area of Virginia, and then Montgomery County for Rockville. So that is a service that perhaps you or a neighbor could benefit from as well. And then we also have a program called Ingleside Engage. So Ingleside Engage is a social day program that is provided within our campuses. It is for those who have the beginning stages of mild cognitive impairment. And it's an amazing day program that we provide. It's for those with early stage. Some people have, most people will have sort of a Alzheimer's diagnosis, but it's a really engaged program. They have lectures, movies, art, music. They take part in programming that's on campus that our own residents are part of. It is available to our residents on campus. It's also available to those in the external community. I will say that not only is it a benefit to those who actually take part in the program, but it is such a blessing to those who are caregivers and would like to have time to maybe just provide themselves with their own self-care. And it gives them time to, do appointments during the day, and then their loved one can come on our campus, engage in programming, and then go home. So that is currently sort of I would say, the overview of services for Ingleside today. And then, of course, we are excited to introduce Experience by Ingleside. This program is actually not new. We launched it in 2023. So we've had it for about 2 years now, but it is the newest of services that we have on or as part of our portfolio now. So really quickly, what is Experience by Ingleside? Experience by Ingleside, it offers personalized home services delivered wherever you call home. So that means that the services that you see in front of you, these are services that we can provide through Experience by Ingleside in your home. We've also have residents on campus who are using it as well for pet care, IT help, things that we don't typically offer within our portfolio on campus. So the beauty of it is that you have a concierge, and this concierge is a live person. We have Kat Murphy. She's not on the call today, but Kat Murphy is the contact for those who are interested in Experience by Ingleside. She helps individuals pick out the services they're interested in. She then schedules the services for our members. She can deal with a day of logistics, and she can also put together one consolidated bill so that you receive one bill at the end of the month of all the services that you receive through Ingleside, Experience by Ingleside. And so it makes it a lot easier than dealing on your own with multiple vendors going on every website, scheduling services, figuring out how their payment works, their options work. You have one live individual, a concierge named Kat, who helps you deal with all the logistics and then sends you one bill at the end of the month with all the services that you've received. On the slide in front of you are some of the most popular services that our members ask for. And in addition to house cleaning, window cleaning is a very popular service that clients ask for. Along with meal delivery, and I know Mikkel could speak to this, is that going to like big box stores like Costco, it's nice to have somebody else who can manage that for you, especially if you have large items such as water. There's a lot of those big items at Costco that are kind of difficult to manage getting out of your car or just shopping for it, especially like imagine if it snows and you have to go to the store. Why not have a personal shopper through Experience by Ingleside do that for you versus you having to navigate the parking lot um, during a snowstorm in the DMV. No one likes that. Pet care is a big one, especially boarding and grooming. The laundry, dry cleaning, IT support is a really big one. Having someone that you can call to help navigate whether you need to set up a new computer or whether you're just having trouble figuring out how to use, the computer you have, like figuring out how to deal with, a new platform that's been put on your computer. So IT support and handyman services. Though that's a big one too. I can tell you that, and we can talk a little bit about this when it comes to move management, but if you're looking to possibly move in the future and you hire a real estate agent, they're gonna come into your house and they're gonna probably write you a list of things that they would like to see you address before you put the house on the market. And it's typically things that you probably don't even notice anymore because you've lived there for so long. It's I had a key that stuck at the front door. And the real estate agent said, you got to get that lock fixed. Even if you figured out how to jimmy it, the last thing you want is the first thing for their real estate agent to be like, oh, this door isn't like working correctly, because that's immediately going to put in the buyer's mind, well, what else are they not taking care of in the house? So the handyman services, those are huge because they can do almost everything and anything to get your house ready for sale. Mikkel, I don't know if you have any other things you want to speak on popular services that people are doing.
Yeah, sure. For absolutely spot on with that, Kristen. Handyman services number one request because everyone always has a to-do list or things around the house that need to be taken care of. Some of them are, just little annoyances or things that are quirky about our particular homes. Other things are more involved. So, major repairs or something that has become an issue over time. Certainly we can have a handyman service to take care of those or even routine maintenance, things that are maybe a little bit more difficult as we get older, getting on a ladder to change filters or light bulbs in a really high ceiling is another opportunity to have a handyman service come out. And while they're there, take care of any other small things, to maximize that visit. But even things like that, that may seem like a small deal, can be opportunities for us to have a professional come out and just take a look at any other areas that might need to be shored up for safety or anything like that. Also, as we move into the changing of the seasons, we know that, lawn care can become a little bit overwhelming for anybody that loves gardening. Absolutely. We love, get out there in the flower beds. Some people really enjoy planting, changing their flowers out for the season. But sometimes those really big bags of mulch or, moving flowers in and out can be really heavy, or just would be great to have someone deliver those things and help you get started and then you take it over from there. But whatever level of help anyone needs, or to get the yard under control, or as we move into the falling of leaves and now the yard is full of leaves, collecting those. Even as we move into the heavy snow season, we know DC, it's not always a guarantee that we're going to get a true winter, but in the event that we do, in Maryland, DC, Virginia, any of those areas that may happen to get a snow that's unexpected, that's when we get overwhelmed with requests for, or see a great influx of requests for snow removal. So this is a great time to get on a snow route just in case we do have a heavy snow, because once that hits, it's going to be very difficult to then add to a route that's already full. Those providers typically, they get tons of calls. So we already have everyone situated on a snow route in anticipation of bad weather. It's a great opportunity to just plan ahead for that. It's never too early. We can always check in with many of our lawn care providers do also snow removal during the off season, but just something to think in terms of as the weather starts to change and we get into those different situations seasonally. Um, prepared meal delivery is another one in case anyone needs to have, just don't want to spend time in front of a stove anymore, or just have, help with maybe prepared meals or, bulk meals delivered. We can absolutely take care of that. Home cleanings are another popular request. We know as the season is changing, it might be a great time to have a deep clean of your home, or if you're needing to replace a home cleaner, maybe they're retiring or anything like that. If you've got family coming in for the holidays, great time to get a home cleaning, or even after everyone's gone from the holidays visits, that'll be a great time to get a home cleaning. Or if you're going to be away for the holidays and want to come home to a refreshed space, then it's a great opportunity to look into home cleaning and, get the pricing. You always will be in control of when you want to move forward with any of these services. But if you're curious as to how much something will cost, let us share that with you. Let us get the pricing information so then you can decide when you're ready to move forward. Then we will certainly follow your timeline.
Okay, thank you, Mikhail.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned before, another popular thing that we, through experience by Ingleside, but I think even more importantly, being on the sales team, working with clients who are moving into our communities is the move management piece. I'm sure that many of you on this call have lived in your homes for quite a while. And you've collected a lot of things that you adore, some things you don't adore, but it can be daunting to figure out what am I going to do with everything that I have to make sure that I'm prepared or ready to make the next move, regardless of where it is, whether you're downsizing into a condo, where you're moving in with children, whether you're moving into a community. So using a move management company really is a huge benefit. And I would say I've worked for this organization for about 15 years. 95% of the people that we have moving into our communities go with a move management company. The other 5% who don't said they should have after they moved in. And they've been living in boxes for months. And you're moving on a campus, anywhere you go. Obviously, you're moving to create some sort of, you want to change in lifestyle, and obviously we want to change it for the better. So why not do it the right way the first time so that you can enjoy the move and have it just be a little less stressful? I was telling Betty before we started this presentation that I moved a year and a half ago. I moved from a one-bedroom condo into a house. So I kind of did the opposite of what a lot of, I'm sure, the group on today's call is doing. But I can tell you it was incredibly stressful. And having a move management company, they packed me, they put my stuff in storage, they unpacked me. It was like a lifesaver. And it was like that aha moment, like, well, now I actually know, like, I've have lived the benefit of it. And so it is, I don't want to say it's life changing, but honestly, it made selling a house, buying a house, and all of that way easier. It took the stress out of it. So we thought how important it is to highlight it on today's presentation. And the fact that we have so many people on the presentation shows that there's a big interest in learning more. So I wanted to introduce Betty Williams. She is, as I said, from Moyer Move Management. She is one of the organizations that we partner with through Experience by Ingleside. And I don't know if you have any like introduction words you want to share, Betty, before we get started.
Get ready. Here we
Yeah,
go.
right. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Okay, so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Betty.
Thank you for having me, Kristen.
Sure, we're happy to have you.
This is something we talk about every day, and maybe some of you I have already met. But to dive right into these screens, I'm not going to read them to you, but I'm going to sort of add to them. So it is probably, they say moving is one of the 7 most stressful things that you'll come across in your lifetime. You can imagine what some of the other ones are, but people have done it when they were in their 20s, 30s. When you get to be thinking about moving into a CCRC, it is absolutely detrimental to your health to try and do what you did when you moved when you were 20 or 30. So we've divided it up into a couple phases, most of all adding to what you might have done when you were in your 20s or 30s, where the guys came in, swooped in, picked up the furniture and put it on the truck. We're adding services to the beginning of that and to the end of that, hoping that it would be a very smooth transition. So move it ahead, Kristen. So we acknowledge that it's a life event and that it's going to be very stressful. We've done the research. We know what we can do to help you through this stressful situation. And I just ask you to open your mind to it and think about it. So traditionally, moving wasn't managed by a move management company like the one that I work for. Probably, Kristen said she's been here 15 years, maybe 19 years ago. There was a concept of these CCRCs popping up all over the country, and people were finding out that they were qualifying people to move in these beautiful, lovely communities financially, medically, physically, and they were finding that a very big part, a big percentage of the people they qualified to live in these active, beautiful communities could no longer live independently by the time they got there. So dug in and picked up some research to try and find out why was that happening. And lo and behold, it was because they were trying to move in a traditional old way. And we've decided that move management was one of the ways to help to keep you from blowing out a shoulder, hurting a knee, falling, having that critical accident. So that's kind of where we came from. Click ahead. So now when you hire a move manager, it's almost like hiring someone that would maybe plan your wedding or plan a big event for you, where we're stepping in at the very beginning once you make the commitment to go there. And I say once you make the commitment, I'm working with people who are looking at a move 2 years down the road, and I'm looking at people who have all of a sudden moved this up on their calendar to next week. So it, it's not ideal, but it can happen. So one of the things that we're going to look at for a little bit longer planning than next week is what can we do to be ready when you get that call from your salesperson that says, we have the ideal unit for you. How quickly can we get you in? If we've done our pre-work, working with a move manager where we've downsized, we've looked at floor plans that you have decided on with your sales team, we can go ahead and tell you what will fit from your current home, lay it out on a floor plan for you and have you take a look at it. And then of course, through the packing and the moving and the unpacking, but the pre-work is really ideal to start anytime you've decided that this is a place that you're going to be heading. So the first step is a floor plan. And again, I will say to you, because I love this sales team at all these Ingleside homes, sometimes they'll give me 3 or 4 floor plans and say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith are looking at this, 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 or this. So I'll go into the home and we'll go ahead and design your floor plan and be ready for whichever one might come up. So it's a scaled version. I'm coming to your home. We're working on it together. We actually measure your furniture. We think about repurposing some furniture in a different way than maybe you have it in your current home. But this is first. So I'm suggesting that maybe there's a little bit of a paradigm shift where instead of thinking about what am I going to do with all my stuff that I'm not bringing, start thinking about what you do want to bring and how you want to live in your new space. Then we can come behind that and deal with what's not coming. So this is a nice example of a floor plan that we might do if you're looking at going into a Grosvenor. This is just a picture to show you that we're taking a home that you've lived in for 30, 40, 50 years and how we're transitioning it into an apartment that might be available to you in one of the communities that we deal with. Just let that sink in for a second. This I see this more than you. Well, you might show it to me when I come to your home, but you do collect things, and especially if you're living in a 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 square foot home, you're filling every corner of it. And when it comes time, you get that phone call from one of your Ingleside salespeople and says, we're ready, we have the unit that you want, you don't want to have to deal with this. This is cumbersome. This will, this causes a little bit of concern, so. I know everyone can speak to this as your family moves out or moves on, or you end up being the taking care of everybody's things because you have the space for it. This is not what we want to be dealing with when you have to move in a, you know, a 30-day period or whatever it might be. So there's some things that you can start doing right away. I mean, you can write these down or make sure to just contact me through Kat or however you can get through to me. There are some things you could be doing right now, but mainly it's to know that help is on the way and all decisions don't have to be made about everything that's been collected in your home for you to start planning. So I say purposely walk through your room and find an area that is most concerning to you. Set your timer, work on it for an hour. Those might be some of the areas where you would start from. But go ahead. So here's the Marie Kondo things. This is some ideas on how you can make some decisions. I make it a lot simpler. If I was speaking to you in your home, I'd say, if you love it, if you need it, or if you use it, then we need to consider bringing it. If you don't love it, you don't use it, and you don't need it, they should be put in a pile elsewhere. Maybe they shouldn't come with you. But that's that's easier said than done, but those are the words that I like to use. Here's some other examples of ways that you can start cutting through. And I think, Kristen, you told me if there were any of this that you'd like to share with people when we get off, we can print this out, can't we, and send it to some, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things, the first thing that I would do if I came in and worked with you is like I said, take one drawer at a time, one shelf at a time, set a time limit on it. You don't want to allocate 40 hours a week to doing your downsizing, but certainly an hour a day could be manageable and it wouldn't push you over the edge. So set a target date.
Or you could do what my parents did. They called me up and said, if you don't want it, it's getting trashed in 30 days.
Well, I'm an advocate of maintaining those wonderful relationships you have with your children. This is probably not a way that you want to maintain that wonderful relationship.
Yeah.
So know your limitations too. And that's one of the things that a move manager will say to you. We might, if you had a garage that looked like the one that I showed you in one of those slides before, then you might want to say to your move manager that you've chosen to be a part of your team, what should I do? And we can come up with lots of examples of how that could be a little less stressful for you. And so I ask you to tap in, talk to a move manager, identify who that person is that you'd like to help you through the process and get them on early so that you're not stressing over a garage that looks like that. And we're bringing in professionals to help you get through that. I, again, am a big proponent of let's design your space now, the sooner the better, of how you want to live in your new space. And then we can come through and sort through the things that we've decided are not coming to your new space. But to do it the other way, you may never move. So there's a couple things that, again, that we would suggest if you're working with a move manager. We are, the company that I work for and that I enjoy working for, we have partnered with many different vendors out there who are happy to donate, auction, sale items that you've decided that are not coming. So we have places and suggestions of what we can do with the items that you've decided not to bring with you. But again, I'm a big proponent of let's decide what you want to bring with you before we decide which family or friends or donation source will take the things that you're not bringing. So this is a question that most people will ask me after I've done a presentation like this. What am I going to do with my stuff? What are my options? How much money will I make? It's a complicated short answer. And again, I'd like to go through it with you if I had time to meet with you in person. Since COVID, post-COVID, just like everyone else, the auction houses and the donation sites they're running on a tight budget and they like to be able to know that they're going to be flipping pieces quickly that they take in on your behalf. So whether you're donating or you're sending to an auction or an estate sale, they already want to have a buyer on the other end. They're not going to house 300 dining room sets for a year. They don't have the room nor the resources to flip them out. So they're gonna want to look at them first and say yes or no. So oftentimes I'll ask people to do homework ahead of time and say, is the piece of furniture that you've decided that you're not bringing with you auctionable? Can you make money by auctioning it? And do you want to? It's a cumbersome task, and you will pay your auctioneer a portion of the proceeds, which then you start saying, oh, wait, if I'm paying Moyer to move these pieces of furniture to the auction house, and then the auction house is going to be taking their cut, maybe it would be better for me to donate it. So there's some things that I can point out for you that you need to weigh and decide what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So an interesting conversation that most people want to have with me. This is one of the partners that we have, Weschler's. Some of the local people may know of them in Rockville. Absolutely reputable. They do a beautiful job of representing your pieces. And in fact, I've worked with clients who have taken a whole room and they've set up the dining room or the living room to look just like it looks in their home. And they sell or they auction it as a whole concept, a whole piece. But again, once you find out what they're going to sell that for, and then they're going to take, see what the bid price is, and then they're going to take their 40% or whatever it is that the different auction houses will take. You may have done better donating it and knowing that it was repurposed to someone that loves it, because you may be in arrears by the time you go through this process with an auction house.
Betty, this slide, I mean, do you have any insight on like what items you're hearing are selling and other items that just, like,
Yes.
my grandmother had like, what are they called? Hummel plates, and those are not,
A whole collection.
yeah, a lot. Yeah. And so, I mean, are there things that you know are sort of hot items
Yes.
and maybe not so?
And anyone who is computer savvy and wants to go on eBay or go on to one of Weschler's websites, you can basically put in the piece of furniture that you're looking to sell or auction or donate and see if it's moving on their website, and you'll sort of understand that. But again, this market that we have right now, it is only as good as what tomorrow will bring into their auction house. So if they have people that are interested in buying a Queen Anne armoire, then they're going to sell it for top dollar. But if they don't, they're not going to keep it on their floor for 2 or 3 weeks. They're going to ship it off to donation. So again, it may be a better straight way. So I will say right now, to answer Kristen's question, in the last month or 2 months, if it's brown, we're not selling it. They're not taking our pianos. They're not taking our dining room sets. People just aren't interested in having them in their homes. And if you have young children or grandchildren, they will attest to that, telling you that they don't want it. But it's kind of heartbreaking. And in a month or 2 months, it may turn again where people are now looking for those. But today's market is not looking for brown furniture. There's a little bit talks about what I already said, what they'll accept and what they won't accept. There are a few donation sources, and I know only the local ones in the DC, DMV area. They're not going to come to your home. They might have prior to COVID. They're not likely to do that now. And if they do, they want what you're donating to be put on your porch or down at the bottom of your driveway. Again, it becomes an issue of, if you hired me as a move manager, I'm not going to ask you to carry boxes down to the end of the driveway. My commitment to these communities is to get you there healthy and active. That's not the way that I would encourage it. But these vendors that see our trucks and deal with us on a daily basis, they know the types of things that we're bringing to them. They won't say no to us. They might say no to you. I don't need your piece of furniture or your dining room or whatever. But if we call on your behalf, they say, Moyer brings us nice things, bring it in. So we have a little bit more pull with some of the vendors that we deal with on a daily basis. So no time like the present. This is what I talked about. Again, a little bit of a paradigm shift. Think about, don't trash anything or recycle anything or ship to a family member if it's something that you might be able to use in your new home, if there's a way we can repurpose it or use it. If you've decided that there are items that you can recycle or dispose of now, certainly start clearing them out of your home. But please work with a move manager, get that floor plan set and know what you want to bring forward before you start doing that.
All right, thank you, Betty. And we will, if you have any questions, please remember to just put them in the chat box, within the Zoom. But I just want to quickly go over how Experience by Ingleside works. So if you are interested in learning more or interested in signing up, you do have an initial membership call that would be with Kat Murphy. And what she does is she actually just gets a sense of what services you might be interested in. She can also suggest additional services that maybe you hadn't heard of. But what she'll do is she'll help put together the collection of services that you're interested in. And she will also make sure, for example, if there's housekeeping, anything where they need to know, for example, the size of your house, the amount of, days you want someone to come, she's going to collect all that information, make sure nothing's missed. You'll try at that point to figure out what service days you're interested, what times. And then Kat will actually be the one who reaches out to the vetted vendors to set those services up. She will also come back to you and go over pricing so that you know what the cost would be for you to receive the services that you're requesting. Once that is all set and you're happy with the services that you want, the days they're going to come, the price, she will do the coordination of day of logistics. Before the vendor arrives to your house, Kat will also be the one to give you a pre-service reminder to remind you that the vendor is going to is coming on the day that you agreed to. So she's kind of there as like we call it a concierge. You could almost be like a personal assistant or someone that's taking care of most of the pieces of the process for you, making it a little bit easier for you. Then the best part is you actually receive the service that you're scheduled to have through Experience by Ingleside. Kat is going to then do a post follow-up with you to make sure that the service was to your liking. Make sure that if there were any concerns or questions, she's there to navigate that for you with the vendor and see how we could do better the next time for you. And then what would happen is we have some clients who do one thing. They decide I want to do housekeeping or, but we have other clients who do multiple things. They will use a move manager downsize. They will have the handyman come to do repairs on the house. They also we have quite a few clients who, one example I'll give you is we had someone who's doing regular meal delivery, but her housekeeper went out of town for a month. She left the country. She went out of town for a month. Well, because her housekeeper went out of town, she didn't want to stop getting services in her home. So Experience by Ingleside not only was doing meal delivery, but we did a temporary housekeeper service for her while her regular housekeeper was away. But what Kat can do is you can have one service, multiple services, but you get one consolidated bill at the end of the month. So like I said, you don't have to worry about the bill due dates, navigating different websites to figure out how to pay the vendor. All of that will be coordinated through Kat, and it'll be one consolidated bill that you get at the end of the month that shows you everything that you decided to receive within the month. And so we have clients who do regularly occurring services. We do some clients who just do a one-off, try it out, or as needed service, as as we call it. We had someone call in because I think they had like squirrels in their attic and they were about to go on a trip and they wanted to figure out how to get rid of them before they left on a trip. So, but she's there for as much or as little as you need. And then for those individuals who are getting regularly occurring services, such as housekeeping or meal delivery, she does do a check-in with the client just to make sure that the services that they're receiving are still up to par and what they expected. Mikkel, anything else to add to this, you think?
That was a great overview, Kristen. And just, we always like to encourage everyone to feel comfortable about just calling to ask a question or the same question. It's totally fine. We don't expect you all to remember every single thing that's available. So if you have a question and need more information, or maybe you heard it, but maybe you want to share that with your spouse, or there's more information, you have additional questions, feel comfortable calling Experience by Ingleside anytime, as frequently as you want to. We're here to help with those, again, everyday tasks or something that's a larger project. We just want to help you get the information that you need. And then, as Kristen mentioned, if there's times when you don't need anything, then you're not getting a bill at all. If there's times when you're getting multiple things done, then we, as she mentioned, consolidate that so you don't have to worry about paying 3 or 4 different vendors when you have multiple services in a given month. But we love working with Betty and making sure that, when you have the opportunity for downsizing or an actual move, that goes as smoothly as possible, because it is very stressful, as we all know. But great partnerships like with Betty and her team, making sure that we get all the details ironed out for you and just getting prepared so that if you're staying in your current home for as long as possible, as comfortably as possible, that's what we're here to accommodate. And if the time comes that you're moving to a different location or downsizing, that's when we can step in to help take all of the logistics off your hands and you just worry about getting settled into your new home or your same home, but in a more organized way. So this is a great opportunity for planning ahead. We know many clients are planners, and that's great. And even for any of us who don't plan very well and suddenly realize we have a lot to do in a short amount of time, don't feel like you're alone. You have an entire team here to help you.
Thanks. And then the question everyone wants to know, the price. So with Experience by Ingleside, it is not one size fits all. So if you're familiar with our communities, we have two financial components. You have an entrance fee you pay when you move in, and you have a monthly fee for your services and amenities. And typically, when you meet with a salesperson, they have a fee schedule that will show you this is the cost of every unit that we have. And they can give you sort of a flat price depending on which entrance fee choice that you choose. And there's a lot goes into it. And obviously we're more than happy to talk to you about our communities. But it's a little bit more set because the price of the unit is the price of the unit. When it comes to, as I said, Experience by Ingleside, it's not one size fits all. The cost for each client can be based on the services they're requesting. It can be based on the frequency of the services they've selected. When it comes to housekeeping, it could be the size of the home. Do you have a condo or are you in a 5,000 square foot home? The number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms. And it can be dependent on how many meals you request within a month. It can be dependent on so many different things. So that's why we say it's always best to speak with Kat just for an initial call to get a sense of what the pricing is for the exact services that fit what you want. Now, what you see on the slide currently is really some of the most popular services that people have asked for, and the range of cost. But the true cost to you, so the meal delivery, the handyman, that grocery, that's paying for the actual services that you're receiving. There is an additional cost to that. That is the cost, that is the charge for the concierge. So the concierge cost would be 17.5% of the cost of the service. So if it's $100, there'd be a $17.50 charge to the service. but it only goes up to $50. So if you're going to do a move management, I mean, obviously, Betty wouldn't want to give you an actual number. I can tell you that mine was several $1,000s. It's not 17.5% of several thousand. It is up to $50 to use the concierge service. So that is sort of how the overall concierge charge works. And again, my suggestion would be to speak with Kat about the actual services that you're interested in receiving. And she can put together the pricing for you, so you know how much it's gonna cost and if it works for you. There's no obligation to talk to Kat. There is no membership fee. So there is no fee to be a member of Experience by Ingleside, unlike our communities where you would have a sizable entrance fee and a monthly fee. There's no down payment, there's no monthly fee that you're paying to be part of this program. It is based upon the services you select. And again, it's 17.5% of the service up to $50, depending on what you do. I don't know, Mikkel, if you have anything else you wanted to add to that as well, or if I,
We covered it. Yeah.
good, okay, so it's very different than our community, so, and I know people ask many times, what's the membership fee? And there is no membership fee.
Yeah.
for it.
And I will say just one other quick notation on something like a handyman repair service or, transportation or anything that requires and like an actual pricing based on your location. For instance, transportation, it's going to depend on where you're being picked up, where you're being dropped off. If the driver needs to stay for the duration of the appointment, so that can affect the pricing as well. The frequency, it could become a recurring service, as Kristen mentioned, or it could just be a one-time service. With the handyman service, if it turns out that pricing is more than you anticipated, we can certainly get a second estimate for comparison, just to make sure. We've already vetted that pricing just to make sure it is, aligned with what the market allows for certain things. But there are cases where maybe specific products are requested. Maybe it's a home cleaning and they only want green products to be used. So that may require the pricing may be a little bit more for that, or there are specialty tools or machinery that's required. So anytime there is going to be an estimated price for something, if there's a second estimate needed or preferred, we can absolutely get that, so that way you can compare and have the information you need to move forward when you're ready.
Kristen, who are the residents that are eligible for Experience by Ingleside?
Do you mean, well, anyone is eligible for Experience.
They don't have to be on already committed to Ingleside?
No, 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 no. So, Experience by Ingleside, it really is, it's available to the general public. Obviously, we market to our database because those are interested individuals who have come to us to learn about the community. So we do share this new service, but we actually don't market this product to our residents on campus, because I'm sure many of you know we have a slew of services available to those who live on our campus. They don't really need Experience by Ingleside, but they do like using some services such as pet sitting, IT support, things that we don't typically offer on campus. They can add it to the, it just makes life easier for them. We've actually had residents who live on our campus who have asked, could I get a gift certificate of this for my daughter who's pregnant, or my
Oh, I love that.
children who are pregnant? So there's not really an age qualification to it, because regardless of how old you are, there are people who have jobs who are really super busy, and they think this would be a great gift to give a holiday gift to my adult children who now have young children of their own, and they're trying to just survive school and work and all that. So we just, it's really for anybody, but of course, because we work every day with those of a particular age, most people are 62 and older who come to us. That's usually who we're talking to about the service, but it's for anyone.
Awesome.
And that was I thought when that resident asked me that question, I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that, that like, that would be a really cool, holiday gift certificate to give to someone to say, hey, here, we're going to make it easier for you. And we're going to, at least for a little bit, have someone help navigate, like a personal assistant, things that
Mhm.
could be, life changes like moving, and you said there's many others. We know marriage, death, relationship, all these things, changing of jobs. It can be difficult to manage those and manage, your family at the same time. So, but
Okay.
yeah. So how can you get started? So we have a couple different ways that you could get started to learn more, or if you want to even connect with Betty. We have a phone number you can call. This phone number actually goes straight to Kat Murphy, the concierge, so she would be able to answer any questions that you have. We do have an email address, where you can get more information tailored at inglesideonline.org. And then our website, if you've ever gone onto our website, at the top of the website, there is a link for Experience by Ingleside. You can click that link, and that will connect you with a member of, I believe it's the sales team, but we always get you connected with whoever you need to get connected with through Experience by Ingleside. If you're interested in the slides today, we are happy to send those to you as well. We're not going to mass email them out, but feel free to contact us and we can get you the slides as well. So with that, we'd like to handle any questions that anybody might have, and I'll go into the chat. So one of the questions that we've received actually is, Betty, so how flexible are move services? Do I have to do everything?
No, but we have there's nothing that is going to happen during your move that I can't plug in one of Moyer's products for. So you can use some and you can use all, no, there's no limit. Some people only use packing services, some use downsizing and moving services. Some need more help than others. So yes, it's all a la carte.
Okay. When it comes, and I'll let Mikhail answer this. When it comes to Experience by Ingleside, um, how 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 much time do you need to give to get vendors? Do you have enough vendors readily available that you don't have to wait a long time?
Great question. So we do have vendors already ready to go for the most frequently asked questions or most frequently asked requested services. There are some very unique requests that may require like a specialty type vendor. So to Kristen's example earlier about the squirrels in the attic, that was for a member who had really wanted to not only get rid of the squirrels, but have them rehomed. So like we actually found someone who does that. That's what he does. He rehomes these squirrels, but wanted to make sure that they were safely taken away humanely. And then
Your neighbor? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
yeah, deposited, back into a wooded area where they could live and roam free, but also patched up everywhere they might try to come back because they are smart and they would just come right back to where they were. Any pest, that's what typically occurs. But for specialty type services, it does take a little bit longer in some cases to find that nuanced request, but we keep you all as members updated all the time as to where we are in the process, how long, what are the availabilities for the providers. We typically will work with whatever their earliest availability is for any service that's requested. But if there is a specific day or time that works best for you, then we will always try to make sure that that's accommodated. But most of the time, it's the availability of those service providers, which is why we have a vast network so that we have greater availability and flexibility when it comes to scheduling and to get that preferred date and time for you. If it's an urgent request, something that's happening and needs immediate attention, then obviously we want to get someone out there as quickly as possible. If it's not super urgent, but you want to have it like looked at or taken care of by, let's say, the end of the month, then we will work again with that timeline preference for whatever the request is.
Okay. We actually don't have any other questions, but I actually have a personal question or just a question of my own. I have heard through clients that it's harder and harder to donate. That like like a wider circle is very popular, but it's getting to the point where they have enough. Do you have any, have you heard
I,
that, Betty?
yes, but I think I touched on this. They don't say no to us.
Oh, they
we're,
don't. Okay.
we're two good partners with them, but I usually say to clients, if you call and say, hey, will you take these things? You might get a no. If our team calls, say, we're coming by tomorrow and I've got these things, they don't ever say no to us.
Okay,
So, yeah.
because the other thing that came to my mind, and I don't know, you had mentioned auctions, that if they can't sell it, they donate it. Is that a way to, can you put
You,
something up for auction if you can't get donations or?
You can, but again, you pay someone to move it and bring it to the auction
Okay,
house. You end up being upside down on it, something you could have donated in the beginning. So
okay,
yeah, I have,
okay.
yeah.
And then our auction house is very picky about what they select.
It depends on the day. Again, I have found that they've gotten pickier and pickier. In fact, I used to be able to get an auctioneer to come in and appraise goods before we decide whether we're going to auction it or donate it. Now they're charging to come into your home and get to get to appraise it. So it actually is, each piece is so they're picky about that. But there's a couple auction houses that we have sort of gotten our list down to, that they know we're not coming to them with, we're bringing them good pieces and they will make sales on most of them. So,
Okay, okay. Yeah, they're just working with individuals, that seems to be, obviously the move managing, but it's not even the moving of the belongings, it's what to do with all the things that they know they're
yes.
not going to be taking with them.
Yeah.
And how to deal with that. And generally what I've told people is start now.
Start now.
Start
Yeah.
now. Even if you're 5 years out,
Right.
you
So we look at a
starting
couple
plan.
different things, Kristen. Like when I'm sitting and talking with someone, I'm looking at, you know, are you under a timeline right now? Do you have to get the value of your home? You need to get this on the market and get the value of the home out right away to get where you're going. Or is it more important that you get the value of each piece of furniture? It's a little more timely, takes more time, and it's more cumbersome to your heart and your soul to find a home for every piece of furniture. But what are your goals? Where are you heading? Some people in today's world and with the way that today's market is are saying, let me get out of this house and get all the value in this home so I can move on to do other things. Then I'm like, let's donate. Let's go. We're donating. So it's
Yeah,
it's a very interesting mix.
yeah, yeah. Great. Well, I want to thank Mikkel and Betty for joining us on today's presentation. And as I said, oh wait, I think there is. Sorry, I just found the questions. They popped up. Okay, here we go. Apologize for that. Are your communities a Plan A or a Plan C? So we are a type Plan C community, which means we are a fee for service community. There's a lot into that, and but for those who know the difference between an A and a C, we are a type C community. Do you have to be on the wait list to take advantage of Ingleside at Home or Engaged if you're not a resident? No. So Ingleside at Home by interim and our Ingleside Engaged program are both available to the external neighborhoods in which we operate our communities. My suggestion is, if you are interested in learning more about either of those, please reach out. I would say reach out to the community in which is in your location, and they can connect you with the appropriate contact to help you with those. Just answering on the question of both of those, you obviously pay for separately. They're not paid for through a membership or an entrance fee either. You're paying for services, whether it's separately Ingleside at Home or Engaged. There's a daily rate that you would pay depending on what days you're going and how long you're there. And they're community dependent. if you're doing Ingleside Engaged on the campus. Am I correct that you don't cover South? Whoops, sorry, I don't know if I got out of the, let me go back there. Am I correct that you don't cover Southwest DC? So I'm not certain covering for experience by Ingleside or covering for, I guess I need more clarification on that. Experience by Ingleside, we can do Southwest DC, correct, Mikal? Yeah, I mean, technically experience by Ingleside, they can do
Yeah.
kind of,
All quadrants of DC.
okay,
Available.
and outside of DC, other
Yeah,
states,
Northern Virginia,
right?
Maryland, we know people live kind of,
Yeah.
say DMV,
Uh,
it's pretty encompassing of the entire area. Again, those outlying areas, if they happen to be further away from a city center or more populated area, then it may require a different service provider because their service radius typically is within the range of a more populated area. But in either case, whatever the address is, we can find the provider. It just may take a little bit longer if it's outside the normal service radius.
okay. If it has to do with Ingleside at Home, the home care company, we'd have to get clarification on that, to see if they can go, because we are in Northwest DC. So I don't know about the driving time and how that works. But we could get that for you. I see your name, so we could, if that answers if that's what you're looking for. This one makes me smile because, well, my parents did recently move and I was asked to do this. How can I get my kids to take away those things they say they want? Um, I don't know, Betty, if you have a suggestion, I'll tell you what my parents did. It's
Tell
exactly
me,
what I
tell
said.
me, tell
They
me.
said, You have till this date and you make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, we're trashing it." I had a dollhouse that I adored and put a lot of work into at my parents' house, and they were holding it for me for many, many years. And they said, "If you want this," my mom specifically called me and said, "If you want this dollhouse, you need to pick it up by the end of the month." And I made it happen. So,
Or we tell them, this is the date that you need to come and get it. And if you can't get it by then, I'm shipping it with Moyer and it'll be at your house on this date.
oh,
So,
okay.
so we
Well,
deliver
you
and
could
I've
do that.
delivered, oh,
Okay.
I've delivered across the country. If it was a painting or something that was just so near and dear to a daughter's heart, mom finally said, I'll pay for it, ship it. So we can get it there. Just
Okay, yeah. And thank you to this person on the call. They said no, the chat function was disabled. This is why I used Q&A. Well, thank you very much, and I'm glad that I connected all the dots in the end. Um, um, you speak about being a member. How does one join? So we call those who have been part of Experience by Ingleside a member. I guess we just think it's a gentler term than a client or prospect, but there is no membership fee to join. You are a client of ours. Member just seems a little nicer. But anyone who contacts Kat and actually moves forward, getting whether it's a one-time service or reoccurring services. We just call them members of Experience by Ingleside, but they've not paid any sort of membership fee. And as I said before, joining is as simple as, and I will get you, I will actually take the slides to the contact page so that you have that while I answer questions, because somehow I fell off. Somehow I let this fall off. So this is actually all the contact information that you would need to then get in contact with Kat through Experience by Ingleside. If you have a general question, my suggestion would be, if you have a general question that has to do with the community itself, or Ingleside Engaged, our social day program, or the Ingleside at Home by interim, my suggestion would be to go to our website, www.inglesideonline.org, And when you go on that website, there is a chat box and you can actually, there's a person on the end of that. You can put your question in there and they're gonna get you to the appropriate community that can answer what service you're looking for in what jurisdiction, Maryland, Virginia, or DC. Let me continue on. Let's see. Oh, what's Kat's role? So Kat Murphy is, and if I don't answer this right, I'll let Mikkel answer it. Kat Murphy is the live concierge that works for Experience by Ingleside. So unlike other companies, maybe you've reached out and you've got a recorded voice on the other end of the line and they'll say, oh, but before we get you to someone, try it, instead of going through all the recorded and the AI and all the junk, Kat's like a real human being who, when you call in, you're going to speak with Kat Murphy. Generally, we have her on the calls for the presentations. We didn't have her on today's call, but she is the concierge that you're going to speak to help talk about what services you're interested in, help you set up services, gets you pricing for the services that you're interested in. She is that live person on the other end of the phone who's going to help you navigate everything with Experience by Ingleside. I don't know if there's anything else I should add, Mikkel.
Yeah, just to add to that, Kat certainly does lead our concierge team, but we have a team of concierge. So that way,
Okay.
if Kat, she's helping one client already on the phone, if you call in, then our entire team of concierge will be able to assist. Kat, again, as our concierge leader, does take the primary role of being that point of contact, but any of our concierge team can walk you through the services, answer questions, help you get the service selected and scheduled, and then the reminders. So we have a team of cats,
Okay.
basically,
Well,
who we
that's
assist.
that's something I just learned today because obviously
Yeah,
we've been doing this for
we've grown.
now 2 years, and so we started small and now things. So that's good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like that is all the questions that I can see here. Again, feel free if there's anything else you'd like to know about in regards to Experience by Ingleside, you can use the phone number on the slide above, as well as that tailored email address. My suggestion is all other Ingleside pertinent questions for any other service that we have to go through that inglesideonline.org website. And then there is a chat that you can put those questions in and they will get you to the correct community in the correct area to answer the question that you have. And with that, I want to thank Betty and Mikkel for being on today's call and to thank everyone who listened for being here today. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah, take
Appreciate
care,
it.
Thank
everyone.
you, Kristen. Have a good day,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.